If you have an old PC that is not running adequately your games, or it is slow when you edit videos or when you perform any other task, don't disregard this PC. There are so many ways to upgrade it so it can last you still for years to come. In this video, I'm gonna cover the major parts of upgrading an old PC. In this case, I'm gonna use as an example my Dell Inspiron 3671 that I got since 5 years now, and it had an Intel processor i5-9400 with integrated GPU, and also it has a mechanical hard drive 1 TB from Western Digital and 8 GB of RAM. So I'm gonna divide this video into 4 main parts. The first part, I'm gonna talk about the motherboard and its limitations and the maximum CPU that you can install in this motherboard. In the second part, I'm gonna talk about the GPU and the PSU because they go together. If you install a GPU that needs more power than your current PSU can deliver. And in the third part, I'm gonna talk about the memory, and then I'm gonna talk about the hard drive, and I'm gonna cover also the USB ports. Before starting, I need to tell you this disclaimer. If you're not sure what you're doing, get a professional to do it for you. If you mess up something in your PC, if you fry some components, or also if you lose data, or even if you hurt yourself, I'm not responsible in any way. Now, that being said, the first thing you need to look at the PC is the chipset of the motherboard. In my case here, my Dell Inspiron 3671 has an Intel chipset that is the B365. To get the version of the chipset, you can install hardware info on your PC, and it's very easy. You just run it and you get the version of the chipset. Why the version of the chipset is important? Because it will tell you what is the maximum CPU that you can install on your motherboard. So once you get the version of the chipset, go to the manufacturer website, for instance Intel or AMD, and see for this chipset what is the maximum power CPU that you can install. So in my case, as I said, I had an Intel i5-9400 in this PC, and I installed an Intel i9-9900. Why I chose the Intel 9900 and not the 9900F, for instance, it is because this PC didn't have a GPU, and the 9900 has an integrated GPU, which is the Intel 630. And also why I didn't choose the K version, which is the overclockable version, it is simply because the B365 chipset doesn't support overclocking. Now, if you want to get all the details on how I upgraded the CPU and all the other components, I'm gonna leave links for videos I've made earlier in the description. You can check out these videos. Now that you know the version of your chipset and you have the information for the CPU, I'm going to talk about the GPU. So the version of the chipset is also important because it will let you know what is the version of PCIe that you have in your PC. So in my PC, I have PCIe 3.0. So for the GPU, it doesn't make any sense to get a GPU that is more than PCIe that is 3.0. So for instance, for the NVIDIA GPUs, the limit is the 20 series. So you can get a GPU either that is in the 16 series or in the 20 series. I do not advise you to get a GPU that is in the 10 series because it's not powerful enough. So in my case, I have this NVIDIA GTX 1650 Super GPU, and this one draws around 100 watts of power. So I don't need to change the PSU that is in my desktop PC because the PSU can give power up to 290 watts. So what I need to do to make this GPU work in my Dell PC is to provide power to it. So this GPU, the 1650S, comes with a 6-pin power that is here, and the Dell PSU doesn't provide this pin power. So what I've done is that I got SATA to 6-pin, so this is an aftermarket cable. I'm gonna also leave a link on upgrading the GPU in the description. It has all these details. So I'm gonna connect the SATA power here to the existing SATA cable that is in the PC, and then I'm gonna connect the 6-pin to the GPU, and this way I provide power to my GPU. Now, if you get a GPU that draws more than 140 watts, so when you hit the 170 watts, like the GTX 1660 Super or also the RTX 2060 or more, you need to change the PSU. And changing the PSU in the Dell is not an easy task. And also I made a video about this, you can check it out. So in 2 words, changing the PSU. First, you need to get the PSU that is the same dimension. And second, the motherboard of the Dell takes an 8-pin for the power that is here. So you need to get an adapter for this. And also I found an adapter, and I'm gonna leave a link in the description for all these. So now let me show you how to install the new GPU in your PC. So the GPU installs in the PCIe 16 that is here. If your PC has a gate to open for the expansion card, open the gate and then slide the GPU inside here. Take the GPU like this and simply insert it, align the pins and push it in. It should install very easily. And here it is installed. Now we need to power the GPU on the pins here. And this is the SATA to 6 pins power cable that I got. And notice that it has 2 SATA connections. So I'm gonna connect one to this one and one to that one. And now simply I'm gonna connect the 6-pin power cable here. And make sure it clicks in place and make sure that the installation is tidy and the cables also are tidy. And now you need to close the gate after you perform the installation. And here you see the huge difference in performance in the Fortnite game. On the right you have the UHD 630 integrated Intel GPU that is averaging 15 frames per second. And on your left you have the NVIDIA GTX 1650S that is averaging around 110 frames per second. And it is the same settings for both of them in Full HD. Now let me cover the RAM upgrade. So I'm turning the PC to show you the RAM DIMMs here. So you notice that this PC can take 2 memory DIMMs. So here I already upgraded this PC to 32 gigabytes, 2x16 DDR4 2066 megahertz. And this PC came originally with only this DIMM of RAM that is 8 gigabytes DDR4 2066 megahertz. And you can ask AI what is the maximum RAM supported by your chipset, like I'm asking Gemini now, and get the RAM that is adequate to your chipset. And also I've made a detailed video on how to upgrade the RAM in your desktop PC. You can check out this video. Let me talk now about upgrading the hard drives. Usually these PCs come with a mechanical hard drive. In my case it is the Western Digital Blue 1 terabyte and it is installed here. And these PCs also has many SATA ports. So if you want to upgrade the hard drive, I advise you to go with an SSD drive. It's better to install an NVMe drive. So here as you see I installed a Crucial P3 1 terabyte drive. And this Crucial is an entry-level drive that is a PCIe 3.0 drive without DRAM, but the speed is like 20 times faster than the mechanical drive. Now if you don't want to purchase an NVMe drive, you can always install an SSD SATA drive. And even the SSD SATA drive, it is like 7 times faster than any mechanical drive. So here I installed also an SSD drive that is here, the Kingston A400. When you install an SSD drive, you need to provide it with SATA power and with SATA data. So in this PC here, you have the SATA ports. They are these ones here, and it has 4 SATA ports. Another important upgrade is upgrading or adding USB ports. So in case your PC doesn't have enough USB ports, or if it has USB ports that are not fast enough, like for instance this Dell PC, you can see on the back it has 4 USB ports that are 2.0 ports, and on the front of the PC I have 2 USB ports that are 3.0. So in total 6 USB ports, and this is not enough. So you can get an aftermarket USB expansion card like this one here. So this one has 4 USB 3.0 ports and 1 USB-C port, and you can install it also in an expansion port. And I've made a video detailing this, but here I'm gonna show you quickly how to install it and how to power it. Usually these USB expansion cards have a PCIe X1 connector, and on your PC you can find also an expansion port here that is PCI X1. So first of all, I'm gonna connect the power to it because it's easier to connect the power and then to install it. So get any empty SATA power from your PSU and install it. There's a key so it cannot go wrong. So this one will install like this here. And when you install the power, simply plug it in also in the PCI X1 expansion port. And here it is installed. And when you install everything, don't forget to tighten the cable and to tidy everything up, and to close also the gate for the PCI expansion ports. As you saw, upgrading your PC is a simple task, and it is a cost-effective way of lengthening the life of your PC. Now, you don't have to perform all the upgrades that I showed you. You can use Task Manager in Windows to detect what is slowing down your PC, and this way you can target the upgrade that is needed for your PC. If you liked this video, please share it, subscribe to my channel, and give this video a thumbs up. And if you want to take it a notch further, you can also join my channel as a member. I want to thank you all for watching. I'm Eloy from Knowledge Sharing Tech. See you in the next video.